Okay, here's another little video about approaching a give-way junction at a crossroads with rather more traffic. I'll just put the window up so that the microphone can pick up a bit more easily. And this is joining the Outer Circle Road in Birmingham. And my purpose in making the recording is that we're going to be coming through a pair of roundabouts shortly when we get to the suburb of Cottridge, and it's to illustrate how if you've got multiple junctions close together, just slow everything down. Your car is a time machine, I sometimes say to new learners. Slow everything down in your car, because that's the only thing you've got control over, yourself and your machine that you're sitting inside. And then the rate of change that things outside happen to you, the rate at which you've got to spot things, know what they are, assess the size of the risk they pose to you, and what you're going to do about it, make a decision about what you're going to do about it, like am I going to go, am I going to wait, am I going to turn, am I going to keep in a straight line, am I going to show a signal, or is it not worth giving a signal, those sorts of things. You've got more time to do all those. Nobody's expecting lots of sudden action. Probably a reasonable driver is making about 3 to 6 decisions a second. 6 is really quite high powered in very busy environments. 3 is probably the minimum. So here, for example, it's fairly quiet. Glancing in the centre mirror, yes, I've decided I'm happy with the distance of the bloke behind. Ambulance coming towards me, yes, I'm happy with the position that they have in the road and any signals they're giving or not giving. So here we are approaching a shopping area. Changing down to gear 2 because I've still got 9 miles an hour, which is enough to keep moving. A zebra crossing. Pedestrians have crossed, so I can keep moving. Pedestrians also walking across the road from other directions. Bus at a bus stop, looks like there's people getting on. And in the distance between the bus and the coach, I can see a little blue circular sign with 3 clockwise white arrows telling me that there's a mini roundabout coming up. I want to turn right at that mini roundabout, so that's why I'm in lane number 2, the one over the right hand side. There's nobody particularly around that would benefit from a signal yet, but I might as well put one on. I'm only a couple of car lengths away from the roundabout, and there could be new people coming onto the roundabout. Nobody's coming from the right, so I can move on to the roundabout, going onto the inside. Now I check my centre and left mirror and put a left signal on, and it's safe to leave the roundabout. And I've left in lane number 1. I could leave in lane number 2 if I was turning right at this second roundabout that is now in front. Just to the right hand side of the coach, you can see there's a blue circular traffic sign above the top of that blue car with a white arrow pointing directly to the left. And now we're all waiting because this shopping area had its number of lanes through the majority of the shopping area reduced to 1 to try and give the pedestrians more of a chance to cross the road. Making the road narrower means they're going to be in the road for a shorter time. Also got a fire engine that's just moving out from the fire station on the left of the coach, just beyond the roundabout. And traffic's jamming up on the roundabout. It looks like it's blocked the path of that blue car which wants to turn right. So the silver car is okay, its position is fine, waiting on the roundabout. It's not blocking anybody else from getting on or off. But there must be a vehicle in front of the silver car that's blocking that blue car from being able to turn right at this roundabout. So I'm creeping forwards, about walking speed. Nothing's coming from my right. Now there is, so I'm going to pause at the give-way line. I can't avoid blocking the dropped curb on the left, which is into a church car park, so I'm not going to go out onto the roundabout yet. And I just wait until there's a little bit of space in front. There's 2 cars waiting to approach from the right. They're on the roundabout, they're on the junction, so I give them priority. Getting ready with my handbrake. Now I can start moving on to the roundabout. And I'm beyond that drop curb, so people can get into the church car park. I'm on the junction, so I have priority now. And then we leave the roundabout towards the railway station, going past the fire station. yellow box on the road surface in front I shouldn't stop in. I've not judged that properly. I thought the coach was carrying on moving, so I'm trying to keep my vehicle in motion. It's unlikely that there's going to be another fire engine coming out, because I can look inside the fire station and see that there isn't one. So in practical terms, it's not the end of the world if I'm blocking that yellow box, but if I come to a stop on it, it is an offence under the British Road Traffic Act, and I could be penalised with a number of points on my licence for coming to a stop on a yellow crisscross pattern. Yellow is more important than white. White is just guidance, really, telling you where you can go and can't go. The stripes on the right hand side, for example, have a broken white line alongside them, and therefore you can drive in that space if you need to, and it makes sense for the traffic coming past on my right to use that space because of the big queue on this left hand side of the single lane, which is now becoming 2 lanes. We know that because of the white line that's appearing in the middle of the road, and we're now moving into a 30-mile-an-hour zone. Not that it's going to do us much good. Looks like there's a hidden road on the right hand side. That's why there's a warning triangle. It may be difficult to spot, to identify, and a rectangular sign beneath that triangle giving us some extra information saying reduce speed now. So you've got a hidden side road on the right, and something might come out quite quickly, and it may not be able to pick up speed fast like we might be going fast coming down the hill. So that's why we're being advised to reduce speed in case somebody misjudges how they come out. I'm tempted to actually go a different way here. I think I'm going to turn right. So I've checked my mirrors, I've checked my blind spot. I'll move out of the traffic queue into lane number 2. A little bit of a lumpy gear change. And I'm going to go around the back of this white van, not cutting the corner as much as the taxi, and of necessity the bus. I don't want to get pushed into the back of the taxi if somebody hits me from behind. There's more free space between me and the back of the white van. Check my mirror again, check the blind spot. Now I can go over into this reserved space for people turning to the right, or indeed going across the dual carriageway in a straight line. My right signal's done its job, so I'm going to switch it off. And now I'm going to add the gas. Come up through the bight, checking to the left, checking ahead to make sure there's nothing coming and that I've got space to move into. Here, making sure I can move beyond the yellow crisscross pattern in the road, checking my right mirror before going out around the obstructions. Building up the speed, not worth going into gear 3 because there's a bus slowly moving off from the bus stop. Gear 2 gives me more flexibility at this speed. And if the battery in the phone holds out okay, then I'll keep on recording. We've got some flashing digital signage emphasising the fact that there's possibly pedestrians in the carriageway, because the traffic signals, traffic lights, control lights, weren't directly in front of us, aren't quite as visible. And it is a token crossing, in other words, bicycles can come across. In other words, another road user can appear quite quickly, quicker than a pedestrian might walk into the road or run into the road. And we're being warned here about bicycles as well. So it looks like we've got a cycle route, and indeed there are 2 cycles in the park. And we're past that side road on the right. Now it looks like we've got very little in the way of hazards in front. Nothing that would make us change our speed or direction, so build my speed up, doing 27 at the moment, go up into gear 3. There's no break in the edge of the road on the left, so I know nobody's going to walk out. Could be an animal, I suppose, coming down the embankment, but very unlikely in such bright light, unless it's running away from a predator. Reducing speed so that I can see over the top of the slope, bringing my sun visor down a little bit to get rid of the bright sky that's dazzling me. Slow in the road, so we check the centre mirror and reduce speed, and now we've got white kite shape in the road telling us that we have to give way. Nothing's coming, so I can move on out. signal's done its job, cancels itself, and shortly, just at the end of this short 20-mile-an-hour zone, we'll be coming across another roundabout, lining myself up with a speed cushion to give me a nice gentle ride, and my passengers a nice smooth ride. Speed table for the zebra crossing there, where there's no control of the traffic by the pedestrians, but traffic should give way, hence the single broken white line either side of the big white rectangles, to anybody that's waiting at the edge of the road. And here you've got some white triangles showing you there's a level change. It's another raised zebra crossing, humped zebra, sometimes referred to, which makes the Americans laugh. And the curb has been not so much dropped at the side of the road, but the road surface has been raised so that pedestrians can walk across. So here I am giving way, as is the car coming towards us. Don't want to block that pedestrian crossing. Think of it like a crossroads with a vulnerable road user. In other words, somebody not protected by airbags and metal and glass built around them. A crossroads where you don't have priority. Because the traffic's jammed up, I'm actually going to put my car into neutral and relax my left foot, and the engine in a modern car will switch off. Still haven't got space to get beyond the zebra crossing, so I'm going to carry on waiting here. Red car being completely illegal, overtaking, although he did have a good view ahead that there was nothing coming from in front. But we can see a roundabout direction sign. It's a rectangle in front of the tree over the top of that van in front of us, and it's got some green background information and some white background information. So the green tells us it's a major road, and Shirley and Walker's Heath, which has written in black on a white background, tells us it's a minor road. That correlates with the fact you've got a thick black line heading towards city centre and in the opposite direction towards Redditch, showing that that's where the majority of the traffic flows, and less traffic flows in the Shirley and Walker's Heath direction. I'm actually tempted to turn right into the service road and avoid this roundabout, and go around the back way. Traffic's moving off now, but my guess is traffic coming onto the roundabout from the right is going to be so consistent we're not going to be able to get out onto the roundabout from this direction for a while. I'll give it another few seconds and then I might turn right into the service road for the shops, which is immediately after the zebra crossing, and then double back and go a different way. So I'll start up my engine, start moving forwards now that I can clear the zebra crossing. Can't yet tell whether traffic has blocked the roundabout. I don't think it has. But if any of these vehicles are wanting to go left, then they are necessarily going to block, unfortunately. Give time for the little blue car to move out to the right, which is what the vehicle in front of me wasn't doing. Now I can take up my position to the right. The silver car has very sensibly left a gap. I can now move out, and then mirrors and signal to leave the roundabout. And that's basically how you deal with a busier, rather clogged up roundabout. In the hope that the battery does carry on, I will leave it recording, because there is another roundabout just after this bend, following which there's a hill, and this one has 2 lanes on the approach, and it may be useful for people to see how, if I don't know what's happening to my single lane, which I've got at the moment, in terms of it changing its width, and whether it's going to turn into more than one lane, and whether those lanes are going to be dedicated for certain directions, then I would just slow down, give myself more time to identify any markings or signs, and to not cause problems to people behind. I would check my centre mirror first so that I know how to slow down. In other words, when to show a brake signal and how to reduce my speed very gently. So here we are going up the hill, which will be busier in the next few months because some building work for new houses is going to start happening on the right hand side. You can see some brake signals in front, so I've checked my centre mirror, let the speed die off, come down to a lower gear. Also got a pedestrian crossing, can't see anybody approaching it, and the button box hasn't been pressed, so it's unlikely the lights are going to change. My lane opens out, doesn't it, into a wider space, and I can see there are 2 lanes, and this is the one I want for going straight ahead. So I stay on the outside of the roundabout. If I was to straighten the line out going onto the roundabout, then I'd be squeezing the space of anybody that might be on the right hand of those 2 lanes and wanting to turn right at the roundabout, and then we might have a conflict, and I'd be forcing another road user to slow down in a way that they wouldn't be planning to do, and that would be a bad thing. So if we adopt a certain position approaching the roundabout on the final approach, then that's where we should stay on the roundabout, even if there aren't lanes marked on the roundabout, and there weren't any lanes marked on that one. So that's a little bit about roundabouts. Battery is lasting well, so I will leave it running. We've got a double traffic light junction coming up, which again might be helpful to illustrate. We have the double roundabout at Cottridge, and just beyond where the bus has been dealing with the bus stop, we've got a double traffic light junction, a T-junction, followed by a crossroads, both of which are controlled separately by traffic signals, but because the junctions are physically close together, the traffic signals are linked. You might just be able to see in the distance the far red and amber light change to green, and then the nearer ones change to green very soon afterwards. So here we are going through the first junction. Now I can signal to take up my position for the second junction, the crossroads. I go onto the junction, at which point I can just about see the colour of the green traffic signal. Can't see it any longer because the shutters are angled so that people coming from other directions don't misinterpret. And once I was sure that that silver car was coming to a stop, I could move forwards. But when I see that green arrow pointing to the right, I know for certain there's not going to be any other traffic coming that I need to give way to. Might need to give way to a pedestrian if they're crossing the mouth of the new road that I'm turning into, however. So it's very important to look in the direction you're about to turn before you commit to actually pointing your vehicle in that direction. Eyes always go before hands, and that's true with the mirror's signal maneuver routine. We want to check the space that we're about to use behind. If we're slowing down, we're actually effectively using that space as far as the person following is concerned, and if we're going forwards, then we need to know how to best use the space that we've got in front of us. So eyes before fingers or feet. Certainly the foot that's controlling speeding up or slowing down. Okay, decent little summary there for international drivers chiefly who may be unfamiliar with pedestrian crossings and roundabouts.